Hello. A holistic approach to managing cyber assets and extending your security posture. Really, what I'm talking about is a general approach for managing our cloud stuff to keep it safe. I'm John Richards, head of DevRel at Paladin Cloud. I spent the last decade developing applications, and for the last 5 years, I've been developing open source communities. Now, have you heard of the Coastline Paradox? The paradox is how coastlines are impossible to accurately measure due to the changing and fractal nature of bays and tributaries. While a researcher was studying the border between Spain and Portugal, he discovered that they listed different lengths. A water border is typically measured by taking a specific length and seeing how many segments you need. Here, Great Britain measured first with 100-kilometer segments and then with 50-kilometer segments. The difference between the two is nearly 400 miles of extra coastline. Let's look at the Maryland coastline. The impact of the Chesapeake Bay meant that organizations have measured it differently over the years, from about 3,000 miles all the way up to recently nearly 8,000 miles. Now, what does this have to do with security? Cloud development is filled with digital tributaries, making understanding your attack surface difficult. In the past, organizations had on-premise security, a square perimeter, and we protected our valuable assets with a literal wall. Maybe not a castle, but the walls of our organizations and corporations. However, the cloud changed our perimeter, and now security is like dealing with an undefined coastline. The added complexity isn't going away. It is only getting more prevalent. 90% of large organizations have already adopted multi-cloud solutions. And we deal with the same challenges of precision and change that comes with measuring a coastline. Security at the application level, or maybe at the APIs, or maybe the underlying microservice architecture, or perhaps the Kubernetes cluster powering it. And today's deployments could tear down yesterday's assets and build all new ones. A holistic approach to your security posture requires understanding your entire attack surface. Otherwise, you'll find your security is an illusion. I worked with an organization that was using Qualys for vulnerability scanning. Qualys told us all 700 and some EC2s were free of critical vulnerabilities. This organization got an A+ on their security. And then we calculated their cyber asset inventory and found that they had almost 1,500 EC2s that were barely at 50% coverage, a failing grade. A holistic approach starts with the asset inventory to ensure everything is covered. Then we verify our security controls. Things like cloud security posture management, vulnerability management. Then we can monitor, detect, and remediate holistically. Now, what's an asset? The term stuff was a little too generic, but not much. The goal is to track everything in the cloud. Network, compute, storage, but you also want to bring in things like services and APIs. To create that asset inventory, we want to read asset config data without reading the asset's content. Thankfully, the cloud providers have created auditing roles to allow us to access security configuration without exposing the asset's content. Once we have an asset inventory, comparing total assets to covered assets gives us a gap analysis to understand our entire attack surface. And then we can find any coverage gaps we may not have known about. Having an asset inventory doesn't mean our problems went away. On the contrary, we likely see more issues now, but we can now monitor, detect, and remediate holistically. Holistic security is more than a tech solution. The organization with Qualys felt more secure before they learned they weren't scanning half their instances. It takes courage to audit yourself. It is necessary to confront the illusion of security to improve actual security. We at Paladin Cloud have a free open source project on GitHub that automates identifying and visualizing your attack surface. Check it out and give us a star. Thank you so much for watching.